All right. Well, we are live, Orly. Welcome, everyone. I am super excited because we are here for another member spotlight, and we have Orly Zeewy with us today. Hi, Orly. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, Amelia, thank you so much for having me. And I love this member spotlight. Be sure to watch others as well. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So you are our second spotlight. So I'm excited. We're trying to have them on Thursdays, and for those that are in a different time zone on Saturday.
Hmm.
But I'm excited to have you today because I feel like the topic that we're covering is so important. And I feel like your expertise can really help those out there trying to get clear. And I love your tagline, getting from fuzzy to clear. So I definitely want to go back to our slide. For those of you that are tuning in that haven't seen any of our promo, today's topic is your LinkedIn on brand. And I'm happy because we're streaming live on LinkedIn. So for those of you that are tuning in and listening, you can actually hold up a tab open and take a look at your LinkedIn to see if any of the advice that she'll be giving you today aligns with what you have going on your LinkedIn profile as of right now. So I'm excited. But Orly, I am going to hand the mic over to you so you can properly introduce yourself to everyone.
Thank you, Amelia. And what a great idea. I definitely encourage people to open their LinkedIn profile because then you can kind of follow me as I talk about different sections. So, my name is Orly Zeewy, and I am the author of the book Ready Launch Brand, the Lean Marketing Guide for Startups. I am also a speaker, an educator, and a facilitator of light bulb moments. I like to say, really, my one superpower is I make fuzzy clear. I help startup founders, solopreneurs, and business leaders go from invisible to memorable in 3 weeks and turn their web visitors into prospects. So today we're going to talk about, in terms of LinkedIn being on brand. A lot of people consider LinkedIn almost as a standalone. And I am here to tell you that the most important thing that you can do is making sure that your LinkedIn is related to your website. It's like a family there should be a family resemblance in the sense that think cousins or siblings, right? Too often I see a LinkedIn profile that has no connection to the person's website, and that happens a lot. And it's not I'm not just talking about visuals. I'm talking about the feeling. There's a sort of a sense of you get a sense of what this person is like, what they're really offering, and when that does not connect to the LinkedIn profile, there's a disconnect. And what happens is the disconnects creates confusion. And confusion means that people can't find you. They won't remember you because we need to see, multiple pieces of you that start to help us understand who you are. So when someone lands on your profile, it should be obvious that you're the same person that they've seen on your website. And so that's why I talk about a family resemblance. Um, Amalia, are you there? Just wanted to give you a chance. No, I think she's still doing something else there. Okay, no problem. So in terms of scrolling, this is okay. This is the first thing I'm going to talk about as it relates to your profile. The most important thing when somebody lands on your profile is you want to keep them scrolling. What does that mean? It means that they keep looking down and through your profile. And what I want you to know is that typically someone spends about 5 to 7 seconds on the top part of your profile. If they don't see anything there that grabs them, they leave, they don't come back, and they don't tell anyone else about it. So think of scrolling equals engagement. And the more someone scrolls, the more they're engaging, the more they're interested and want to learn more about you. And that gives you an opportunity then to provide a way for them to contact you.
I love it. And you know what? The funny thing is, Orly, you and I were just talking about internet.
Yes, we
And
were.
My internet was acting up, so it kind of took me out, but I'm so thankful for you for keeping it going.
Oh, hey,
But
I didn't have internet for 6 hours yesterday, so I get it.
I definitely want to go back though, because I want to make sure people understood the QR codes before moving forward. So if that's okay with you, I want to make sure for those that are not connected with you when you do your intro, they can scan the QR code and connect on your LinkedIn profile, as well as get access to your business page, if that's okay.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. So, everyone, if you are not connected with Orly, make sure you scan this QR code and connect with her on LinkedIn. And if you want to learn more about her and just see her website in general, we're going to talk a little bit more about what she offers and just her specialty. But I do have her website QR code here for you to scan. And again, Orly, my apologies. Sometimes you love technology, but sometimes it does not do what you want it to do.
Oh, believe me, I have been there. I have been there. So no, no worries. Hey, this, you just have to kind of roll with it. That's sort of what we have to do, right?
Absolutely. So, you know what? You can let me know if you covered it or not. But my first question to you, I wanted to ask you, what does it mean to be on brand? Because I know our main topic is if you're LinkedIn on brand. So, let us know more about what it means to actually be on brand. Did you
So
cover that?
I
You can let me
did. Yes,
know.
I did cover it. And the quick recap is think of a family and your brand on LinkedIn should have a resemblance to your website because they're all part of the same family. And that includes other social media platforms if you have them. That you, again, every time you land on a different place where your business is seen, there should be this sense that, oh, I've seen this before. Maybe I don't remember who it is, but there's something about it that kind of reminds me. And that's kind of what you want. You want to be able to have a way for people to remember who you are because it takes so many times for people to actually even remember they've seen you, let alone remember anything about you.
I love it. Now, why is it important to keep visitors scrolling through your profile?
So we covered that as well,
I'm so
but
late to the party. I am so
but
sorry.
but it's okay. I mean, look, there are people coming in now. It's like this is fine. This is fine. I talk about scrolling. Scrolling is like clicking, right? And what it means is the more you click on someone's website, the more you are engaging. The more you scroll, the longer you stay on the profile, the more you scroll and you learn more about them. So what happens is that they start at the top because we are in a culture where we read top to bottom and left to right. So at the very top, you want to make sure that those three things that are up at the top, your banner, your headline, and your headshot, all have something about them that makes people want to keep learning about you.
And that is very true because our attention spans are so like they say a 10-second attention span. I
Well,
love our
actually,
topic last time. It's 5 seconds now, isn't it?
yeah, well, on a LinkedIn profile, people spend on average, maybe 5 to no more than 7 seconds at the very top part before they decide whether to keep scrolling or leaving. The problem with that is once they leave, if there was nothing that grabbed their attention, they won't come back. And more importantly, they don't tell anybody about you.
That is good to know. And I feel like a lot of people do not take advantage of those features to really keep them for scrolling.
That's right.
So
And they're not thinking about it that way. It's almost like, oh, it's just information. Let me just throw something together. And so the next piece of this, when we talk about, there's really three mistakes, three things that really, really stop the scroll. When you, again, starting at the top, your headline is full of generic terms. Coach and consultant doesn't mean anything. Um, so you want to really get, this is where I really, when I work with my clients, the first thing I look at is what is it that you do? Because even though it's your profile and I know it's about you, it's actually not about you. What people want to know is how do you help them? What do your clients get from working with you? So when I talk about making fuzzy clear, I need to connect that to something real. So my headline says taking your messaging from fuzzy to clear so you can attract more of your ideal clients and grow your business. There has to be a kind of a straight line between what you do, who you do it for, and what they get.
I love the fact that people are already saying, "Can you view mine?" So we do have something special for you guys watching, and yes, we will definitely. I'm pretty sure,
Uh,
Orly, you can view everyone that is interested.
I'd be happy to. So that's the first problem, because usually when someone lands there, even though the banner is first, people tend to look at your headshot and your headline, because those two things, that's kind of front and center. And a headshot, by the way, very important to keep it simple, to have a focus on you. Try not to have, kitchen. I've seen this, people like there's a kitchen cabinet back there, and there's lots of plants and they're kind of over your head. No, none of that. It should be, I think, of all the things that you invest in a professional headshot. It's really money well spent. And what you want is head and shoulders. For women, avoid lots of jewelry or lots of scarves, or something simple. I mean, I wear a scarf in mine, but it's very simple. And the other piece is you want your headshot to really reflect who you are. So if you're a kind of buttoned down type of person, then that's what you should look like. I'm not saying that, if you're a Hawaiian shirt kind of person, that's what you should wear on your headshot for LinkedIn, because it's still a professional network. But so headshots should be straight on, where we can really see your face. We get a sense of who you are, and that's really important. That's why a professional headshot is so important, because any good photographer will know how to get that out of you. And then the last thing is the banner. And the banner, people don't realize that it's actually really expensive real estate that's wasted. I see this all the time. Most people don't use the generic blue, but I was actually talking to somebody recently who literally has the blue banner and did not even know she could change it. So, and she'd been on LinkedIn for a while. So, it depends, but here's what your banner should do. It should highlight something key and core about your business. So not telling me everything about you, but telling me enough so that I understand this is the work that you do. So my banner focuses on the fuzzy to clear. And I do this, I found this really great photograph of I'm doing a real close up of an eye chart. And then the tagline there is, focus your brand. And that just tells you a little bit about, if my brand is not clear because I'm making fuzzy clear, that's what I can expect. So those are the three things.
Now I have a question. Great job at talking about the profile photo. And sometimes everyone say professional, and here I am in a football jersey, but everyone keeps telling me because it's branded and Monday Night Coaching and
Yeah, no,
Monday Night Football. It makes me feel a little bit better. Everyone's like, okay, you get away with it.
right.
But I do agree. I did make sure though, because I was going for that type of branding, I made sure to get a professional headshot with the jersey. So
Yes.
it can still look professional.
And by the way, I'm not suggesting, you should be wearing pearls and, the perfect jacket or whatever. It's just that what I see a lot of times is that people put a lot of stuff in their background. It's just really busy, or they've got lots of things going on around them. And all we want to know, like the thing I like about your headshot, Amalia, is that it's so you, right? I mean, the headshot is meant to be, it's meant to give me a sense of who you are, because at the end of the day, that's who I'm working with. So you want to be yourself, but kind of like your best self.
I agree. I 100% agree.
And I love
And
the football jersey myself, so
oh,
I think it's great.
thank you. When I go places, and I love the business. I feel like, since I work in corporate anyway, I feel uncomfortable. I like the blazers, but when I'm out and networking, I
Mhm.
feel like I show up more confident in that style. If it's like a black and yellow shirt with the logo, or a jersey and some really nice tennis shoes.
Well, exactly, exactly. Yeah, I mean, again, you have to find your own style. It's sort of like, I mean, you're the brand, right? So there it's and we could talk a little bit more about personal brands, but a lot of people use color as a way to distinguish themselves, and if we had more time, I could talk more about colors themselves, um, but I found that, for me, like my brand colors, I use purple in my logo, and I have this maroon color and this sort of mustard yellow. Those are the three colors that I use in my brand. And I use the purple a lot because purple is the color of leadership. And it has a very interesting story behind it. But we should move on probably to another. I could talk about color. We could spend another more time about that. Um,
So
so
my next question to you, because I love the fact that we kind of already talked about the headline and the photo and the banner, but people fail to realize the about section is just as important. So what should
absolutely.
every about section include?
Yeah. So here's the thing that I see all the time is that people treat the about section like it's a resume. They've got a bulleted list of all their accomplishments. They focus. It's almost like they're at an interview, and they're using that section for that. But back to what I said earlier about, it's ultimately not about you. It's about what people get from working with you. So I've developed a framework, and the framework is, there's 4 paragraphs. It should be very short. This is not a thesis, and again, not a resume. Don't do the bullet points. I mean, that's where there's other sections in the LinkedIn profile where you can put some of them. That's where you have your where you can put like things that you do that people can then endorse, right? Those endorsements. That's where you can put those things. In the about section, you start with kind of who you are, a little bit about your background, and kind of how you got to maybe to this work. If you're passionate about a certain thing that is then integrated into your business. Like, you want people to start with, they want to know who you are. Then they want to know what you've done. And so the second paragraph, I like to have people, and I do this for myself as well, is kind of show how you, so for me, making fuzzy clear, what does that look like for a client? And so I talk about that. I talk about what that looks like for a speaker who I've branded. I also then talk about what that looks like for a founder, a startup founder, and in terms of kind of how they established themselves by clarifying who they were, and then you end with something about you, like if you're involved in your community, you're a volunteer. I'm a mentor for Founder Institute, and that's important to me because I like supporting growing new businesses and help them in those early stages. So again, something that helps people understand, oh, this is someone who's a mentor, or this is someone who volunteers, or who's maybe if you've gotten any awards, if you have a very extensive or very important academic piece of your brand, then yes, I would put where you've graduated, especially if you have a PhD, from a higher ed institution that's well known. But it's not necessary. Everyone's different, and there are people who don't have degrees, and that's okay. You've done other things, so you want to think about, again, it's sort of giving a rounded picture of who you are without getting into the weeds. And then the last thing I want to say, which is the thing that people forget all the time, which is, please put a call to action at the end of your about section. If I'm here reading about it, it is the perfect time to have something where I can go and schedule a time to speak with you. So don't lose that opportunity, because that's really important.
I just went to my profile to verify that I had one on mine. But How do you feel about the profile links? Because you know how when you do put the call to action
Yeah.
in your headline, do the link does that call to action go hand in hand with the actual link on the profile?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I have a discovery call, and that's the link that I put in the profile, and it's also in the about section. But you can add something else. Like if you have, again, it depends. If you're a speaker, you're going to want somewhere you need to have a speaker sheet. Um, Not in the about section, that would be later in your profile. But that's an important piece that, obviously, if you're not a speaker, you don't have that. But I would say, think of something almost like, something that you could give in terms of time, whether it's a discovery call, whether it's just a 15-minute uh, audit or review. It really depends on you. But normally I would think, yes, that you would want to have the same in the front. Again, because you're reminding them, oh, I think I saw that somewhere. And then I go through your about section, there it is again. So it's kind of a nice reminder. Um, should I take there's questions in the chat? Yeah, there we go. Hi, Chris. Nice to see you here, or hear you, I guess. We're not seeing anyone. Um, this is a really good question. No, it does not. In fact, if it sounded like I was suggesting that it should be formal, that is not what I meant. What I meant is that you should look like who you are, but kind of like the cleaned up version, right? Not like, obviously, but yeah, relax. Like, for men, I would say, you don't need a suit and tie. You can just have a shirt or polo shirt. It's fine. It's totally fine. But the important thing is it should look like who you are, and who you kind of the projection of your personality. So when people meet you or they see you on Zoom, it's not a completely different person that's on the headshot.
I love that he was very authentic in this comment because a lot of us, I feel like when we first show up on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
we struggle with that professionalism side of us and then who we are as a brand. Like for the longest before I felt comfortable in showing up in my bubbly, like you always hear me laughing or being like, I show up as my personality now.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
before, for those that were connections with me, I had this very blazer and I looked very like
Mhm.
stiff. So I would say, Chris, I would definitely say match your personality, who you are as a person. Like one thing I love like Andy Foote, I love Leah Turner. I love like those individuals that just show up to where their personality is their brand. Like she has like tattoos and do not care. Like she show her tattoos. She is the LinkedIn professional with tattoos. So it's all about you being comfortable with who you are, like you mentioned, Orly, and just show up in your best professional way, if that makes sense. It's like a balance.
Yeah, and it's funny because I see, Chris and Zakia. This perception thing is, it's all about perception, right? Because we're not meeting you in person. We're seeing a picture of you. We're reading about you. We're seeing something about you. The goal, I believe, on LinkedIn is to help people get a sense of what it would be like to work with you. And that's true on the website too. It needs to feel like you're kind of experiencing working with you before you get to work with that person. So you want to really be mindful about what is it, the experience that you want people to understand they will have when they work with you. Does that make sense? Because I want to make sure that, because that's kind of the concept I really wanted to get across.
It does. And feel free to comment, Chris, if you have any more
Yeah.
questions.
And I love the fact that you say you never wear suits. Exactly. First of all, since the pandemic, I would say things have gotten much, much more relaxed. And I see this on Zoom all the time. I mean, people are wearing sweatshirts, right? So you don't have to be, it's like whatever that, whatever you feel, because when we wear things that we feel comfortable in, it also shows up in how we interact with people. So anyway, I think that that's a really good point there, that you want to be yourself, but obviously, I would say like almost like casual casual business, I would say, probably. Or wearing your sports team jersey on you is another way to go.
You can only wear it if it's the Detroit Lions. Just kidding.
Well, I'm in Philadelphia and the Eagles just won the Super Bowl, so
Oh, I I
I'll
guess I'll give
I'll
that to
say no
you.
more. I'll say no more.
No, I love it. So, I have a question because I
Yeah.
love the fact that we're tying it back to the website. But I know a lot of people kind of use LinkedIn as their website if they don't have it. And for those that do kind of transition from using that LinkedIn profile as their main domain for people to kind of come and see who they are, I want to just kind of see how we can connect it. So, my next question to you, Orly, is how can your LinkedIn profile visually align with your website to create a cohesive brand experience?
Yeah, that's a question I get a lot, because I will, first of all, let me say that when people look for you, the first thing they're going to do is go on your LinkedIn profile. In fact, there's a billion people on the platform now. Not every day, but there's about maybe 400,000 active monthly users. It's a busy place. And anybody looking for talent, that's where they're going to go. So in terms of thinking of your website and your LinkedIn as being connected, obviously you want to think about colors, because colors, and visuals, you want to use related visuals. So I use the same logo of course, on my LinkedIn and on my website. I also use the same color palette, not necessarily exactly the colors, but in the same family. And then when it comes to imagery, and this is another really big thing, is that you have to decide, like, what kind of image family would you want to be known as. So I don't use illustrations, because I'm not an illustration kind of person. It doesn't fit my brand. I use images that are a little bit quirky, but very refined. And so I have a whole library now of these kinds of images. And if you go on my website, you'll see that same kind of vibe, I guess. So that when you go back and forth between LinkedIn and the website, it's very much related. So you want to think about images, and there's plenty now of royalty-free images sites. In fact, I'm happy to provide a couple that I use. But before you decide on images or illustrations or the kinds of images you want to use, think about what is the outcome. What do you want people to feel when they land on your homepage, on your LinkedIn, when they see that banner? What's the feeling you want them to have? And then how does it relate to the work that you do and the outcome that your clients get?
I love it. And how do you feel about looking at one of your live examples, the before and after, and kind of explaining to them just the process?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I do that all the time, because, and the one we're going to use is one that my client is comfortable with, because I made sure she was okay with that. So yeah, I always try to grab a before, and so that I can then show. So then all of a sudden you look at the before and the after, and it's such a marked difference. But yes, go ahead. Absolutely.
Okay. Let's see. Did it appear for us?
Is is it going to be in focus, or because usually they're in focus, guys.
I was say, what does it look like on you guys' screen? My apologies.
It's totally out of focus.
Okay, let's go back here.
Yeah.
We
Although,
don't want that now. Okay.
yeah,
And let's see if I were to. Usually I have these preloaded before the event, everyone. My
it's
deepest apologies, but we're going to make it work.
Amelia. Yeah, you know what? It's fine. It's really fine. The thing. So
Okay, let's.
while Amelia's getting this
Ah,
together,
yay! It worked.
Is it working? Oh, there we go.
Can you
Okay.
guys see that? Okay,
Yes,
perfect.
it's perfect. All right. So Keisha, first of all, just to give you a little bit of background, so she was in the Army and for many, many years, I think a couple, maybe like 20 years. And then when she left the Army, she found it really difficult to enter civilian life, and she didn't find any support for that. So she decided, she decided to start a community, basically, to help other women leaving, who are transitioning from Army life into civilian life. Now, what I want you to notice here, so this, first of all, there's two pictures of her. This is something else that I usually tell my clients not to do because we're sort of confused because it's different. She looks completely different in each. So again, you don't want to have anything where people are asking questions, right? It sort of raises questions. And then, what she's saying here, living boldly, empowering others to live life abundantly. I don't know what that means, right? What does that mean? So what you'll notice here is look at her headline: veteran wing women speaker, author, coach. Okay, uh, you know, I don't, again, does it really help me understand what she's going to do for me? Because I don't know what a veteran wing woman is. Go ahead to the after slide, if you can, Amalia. Do you have that lined up? Does anybody have any questions while she's doing that? I'm looking at the there we go. So here's the difference. First of all, she got a professional photograph, it's a beautiful photo. And because she's building a community, I wanted to, we found an image that showed people, right? Because not where you can't see them, but just the idea that there's a lot of people in this community. And if you look at what the headline now says, right? It's building an online community for military women transitioning into civilian life. There we go, right? That's what she's doing. It's very clear. And by the way, that was part of the rebrand that I did with her, was actually helping her get to that. I mean, what I know for a fact is each of you knows what you do. The question is, are you communicating it in such a way that people get what it is and specifically how you can help them? And if you can't help them, how you could help somebody in their network who has the problem that you're solving for. So this idea of, she went from, and if you recall the former LinkedIn profile, she was a motivational coach, but really what she wanted to do was to build a community. And I will tell you that within, like, honestly, I think it was within a couple of days, she was getting contacted by people who, the font, which font are you talking about, Marsha? Marsha Lee is saying that the font is hard to read, maybe because it's not big enough.
Right, because it's the screenshot. My
It's a screenshot
apologies.
and it's fuzzy. So actually, it's very easy to read if you go on her actual profile. So the idea here is also that the focus now is on really what she's building, and it's very clear that this is what she wants to do. Any other questions? Chris, you're saying you actually have no idea what you do. You do a lot. Well, you know what? That is true. That is true. But there's one thing that you can focus on, and then it doesn't mean that you don't do those other things, but to brand yourself successfully, you've got to pick the one thing that is really at the core of everything you do. Because people they can't really grasp when you have 10 different things that you're doing. It's too much. People can't focus. And the goal of your profile is to get people to come onto you when they land on your profile. They need to understand who you are, what you do, and who you help. If you think about it in terms of those three things, think about all the different things that you do, Chris. And there has to be one thing that maybe is common in terms of the kind of work that you do, and maybe it's more important to look at who you do it for. So that's why those two things are really important. Understanding who that person is. That's really the key to all of this. Because saying I make fuzzy clear, that's not what I was saying. 5 years ago. And I realized that what I was talking about things that really didn't matter to my actual clients. And so, yeah, so this is really important, because if you understand who that person is and what is the thing that's keeping them up at night, what is their issue that you have a solution for? Because the idea that you do all these different things, then you become a solution looking for a problem versus understanding the problem of your ideal client and going from there.
I love
Yeah.
it. Oh, my apologies, Orly. Go
Oh,
ahead.
no, no, no. Go ahead. I was actually just about to say, if you have any questions, put them in the chat.
I love what you did with for her profile, because I agree. It was very hard to kind of understand what she wanted. I'm going to bring that back up,
Yeah.
because that transformation that you did for her, it's very clear now what she do. And like now we can refer people. I like to tell people, the clearer you are, the easier it is for your community to refer people to you.
Right. Yes. And that's such an important point that you're making here, Amelia, because it's not just about attracting people to work with you. It's about helping people refer you. So you make it easy for them to understand who they would refer you to. And that's really critical to your success on LinkedIn.
Now I would love, because we have so many people inquiring. We're gonna jump over to our QR codes just to give them time, because I know sometimes we kind of wait till the end of the event and it feels a little bit rushed.
I know. I
But I
know.
but I really want to give you time to kind of explain everything. And then that way people can have time putting their questions in the chat as well. So
Okay.
if you have any personal questions regarding your own profile that you feel, uncomfortable with, put that in there. She'll be happy to answer that for you. But I do want to give you time to really explain some things that can be helpful for them. So I'm going to first start with the bonus,
Okay.
if you want to kind of go over that with them. And then this time, guys, you actually have time to scan the QR code.
So yes, so I've put together a brand clarity checklist that you can download, and basically it's questions you need to answer if you're not sure whether you actually have clarity around your brand. That's what this checklist is for.
Okay, see, got more time. I see people scanning.
Yeah, I love that you were able to see that right away. Um,
Yes.
but I mean, these are questions that I ask my clients, and what's interesting to me is how often people really don't even know the questions to ask, which is why I decided to put together this checklist. And for me, the reason I talk a lot about clarity is because the clearer you are about who you are, who you help, and what they get, the easier it is for you to communicate that, the easier it is for someone to understand what you do and how you can help them. Because what tends to happen, and this is everyone does this, so you're not doing anything different than everybody I've ever worked with, which is when I ask somebody what they do, they talk about what they do and how they do it. No one cares about that. And I know that sounds really harsh, but it's not that. It's remember, the first step is you want to begin a conversation with someone. You're not trying to sell them. You're just trying to show them that this is the value that you bring. So when you talk about what you do and how you do it, that's really about sales, because that tells me, oh, you're trying to sell me something. But really, when I say that, I make fuzzy clear, and I help people go from invisible to memorable in 3 weeks and turn their web visitors into prospects. That's a goal that I know my clients have, because I've spent a lot of time talking to my clients. I've worked with hundreds of founders at this point, and I know that this is top of mind. If I was just talking about myself, I'd say, I could talk about my whole process. Believe me, I wrote the book on it. So if you want to learn about my process, you can go look at my book, and you'll see there are actually exercises that talk about a lot of this stuff here. Um, So yeah, so that's the first part. The first step is really to understand, is it clear what you do? And is it clear to people who don't know your business? Do they see how they could work with you, or how someone in their network could use your expertise?
Now, I love something else that you do for your clients. And I'm going to ask the viewers or people that's listening in to let me know in the comments. How confident are you in your elevator pitch?
Oh,
Because
that's a good one. That's a good one, Amelia.
yes, because when you're networking or when you're like guest speaking, when someone asks you to, like, you only have a short amount of time to
You have
really,
15 seconds.
yes, can you achieve it? So I want to actually ask you, Orly,
Yeah.
before I go into your next QR code, for those that really don't understand, what is an elevator pitch and what should it look like?
So again, it's really the three part, right? I do this for this type of person to help them achieve X, right? So basically, this is what I do, this is who I do it for, and this is what they get. And you want to focus. I always start with the transformation part. What is the transformation that working with you achieves for your clients? And Marcello is saying he's got it down. Okay, great. Do you want to put it in the chat?
I was just going to say that. Let's see your elevator pitch.
It's it,
Everyone, put
yeah,
your
there you go.
elevator pitch.
I'm just doing the one, and we're not gonna, do a whole and I call it switching the pitch, but I'd love to see what your pitch is, Marcello. So please go ahead. Yeah.
Now, for those that feel like, and Chris, I'm not putting you on blast. I had the same issue when I first started. For those that are multi talented or may have multiple things that they do, having an elevator pitch seems harder and harder. And one thing I love about Orly is that she has a clarity hour, and not just, you know how you have something where it's like, oh, you're going to get it. She actually audit your what you have going on and then also help you with your pitch. But I'm going to let you explain it more about your clarity hour, Orly.
Yeah, I mean, typically, I'm offering this just for this. Typically, I do a clarity audit, and that's a 1 hour. And so, as a bonus for our community, I'm offering a clarity hour, which includes both the audit and looking at your pitch and helping you switch that pitch. So I see Chris put. Is that your pitch, Chris, that you've just put down? Treat act. I don't even know how to say that. Actinic character. I can't even say it. Can't- but is that your pitch? Green energy tech. Oh, at scale, rapidly deployable anywhere in the world. Okay. Yeah, and you know what? I will tell you that the thing that I see here is it's very wide, but it's not specific. And I'm sure that if we were to chat and if we were to work together, even, if we were to do this clarity hour, I could help you get it down to something that would resonate with the person that you most likely would want to work with. And this is, I think, another aspect of it. He's laughing. Why is he laughing? I don't know. Because it's easy to talk about. We do this whole big thing. I have a lot of people say, well, everybody could use what I do. Well, that's very true. But everyone cannot be your client, and you don't have unlimited marketing dollars to attract 100,000 people. Most likely you've got a small group of people. Okay. Oh, I got you. Oh, so Chris, so you're in the fintech space. I get it. um, so then it's interesting, because the thing that I see Chris mentioning reminds me that there's there's two groups here. There's users and buyers, and often when we're promoting ourselves to a client, it may not be the user, it may be the buyer, and then the user, right? So if you're like, for instance, I'm assuming that you also work with, whether it's hospitals or health group or health care groups, or large organizations, but ultimately what you do is helping the patients. Have I got that right, Chris? Medical technology, yeah, got it. AI, interesting. Yeah, I mean, we're all about AI, green energy. Got it.
Okay, there's a lot, Chris. I would say, and I love the fact Orly is in our community. And I want to just say this as a full disclaimer for everyone watching. Even if you're not right now a member of the Audio Leadership Club, if you're tuning in, you still have access to the link for watching. So if you're watching right now, or if you're going to watch the replay, everything that she's doing special for us right now, whether you're a part of the community or a viewer tuning in, it will be available until midnight. So that's why I'm kind of taking more time to put the QR on screen, because she was very generous to do the clarity hour for us. So if that's something you're interested in, I would say definitely scan the QR code. I will also put the link in the comments. And then another thing too, if you're not ready for a full one-on-one clarity hour and you kind of like the community aspect, she has a workshop too. Are you okay with me showing your QR code for your workshop?
Sure. It's actually, I'm always hesitating. Is it a workshop webinar? But it's next week, and it's a 1 hour webinar. And it's basically, you're going to walk away knowing how to build your elevator pitch. And I'm offering a special price just for the people who are listening in right now, who are here right now. And again, that will be available until midnight tonight. The webinar is, the way I've constructed it is, the first part is, I'm going to talk about what is an elevator pitch, what are, and kind of break it down into those three parts that I talked to you guys about. And then the last 15 minutes of the webinar, I will actually switch a pitch. I will actually do a pitch makeover for the first couple people who've already signed up. So that you'll be able to see in real time what it looks like to switch your pitch.
I love it. And I'm going to go through some comments to give people time, leave this on the screen. Orly, is there anything that you feel that we didn't cover tonight that you think is important for people to know when it comes to their brand?
Yes, be consistent. Please be consistent, because the biggest issue I find with people, one of the big issues that I find, is that people constantly are changing. They're either changing their logo all the time, or they're changing the colors, or they're not confident, right? And so they think, well, if I change it, I'll come up with something better. But here's what happens. It looks like you don't really know who you are, and that creates confusion. And in the world that we live in, we are literally in a 5-second world, where that's about how much time you have to get me to want to talk to you further. And so if you don't stick with the one thing over time, every time you change it, makes it that much harder for somebody to find you, remember you, and of course buy your services, because they don't know who you are. So that's the reason why I always start with, let's get clear on what is your value proposition. Who are you as a brand? Because if you don't know that, then you're constantly, you're throwing things up against the wall to see what sticks. And what I've learned is that even you can change, I mean, you really can't change the value proposition, because that's core to who you are. And if you don't know what a value proposition is, it's the thing you would do even if it was illegal to do it, because that's who you are at your core, and that does not change. So I think getting clear and having your message, and the message, of course you can tweak the message, but it should still be about the same. It's the value that you're offering should not be changing.
I love it. And I just want to point out too, because I had this issue too, Orly, and I know someone else mentioned this earlier. If you're someone that has multiple skills or could offer more than one type of product or offering, it's good to start off to being known for something, right? So right now, the
Yeah.
funny thing is, so I'm a LinkedIn business coach, right? But all of you know me for what? Audio events.
Exactly.
Now, it wasn't until like people that actually, talk to me, meet with me, then they say, oh, okay, then they go and do the business coaching with me. But the most part, I made sure everyone know a main expertise to where they can refer me and I stand out and I build authority in something because I love that phrase. Um, what is it? Orly, help me. When people say like, if you're a jack of all trade
Oh,
or
oh, right. If you speak to everyone, you connect with no one.
there you go. And that is a very true statement. And when I first started, I did struggle. But when I kind of niched down and narrowed down and people started to identify me, my expertise became known. I became trusted. And then my other talents start to show.
Right. And also, by the way, if you want to, you're hilarious, Chris, you're really funny. Um, I want to just really quickly, I'm looking at Marcello's elevator pitch, and I do want to respond to that. So just hang on 1 second. What I was going to say, Amelia, is the the key here is that if you want to be a thought leader, that shows up by you speaking, articles, things that you're doing where people see your expertise, which is why you also want to engage on other thought leaders posts and add your thought leadership. And I'm actually part of a LinkedIn pod, and we every Tuesday we each comment on each other's posts. And what happens over time, people start to see, oh, yeah, this is what you do. And wow, this is really interesting. And then, it's a way, it's almost like, part of your funnel of like helping people see your expertise again without being about selling, but it's really about sharing your expertise and showing people how you solve a problem. And again, picking one thing, not everything, but you pick a lane and you pick maybe 2 to 3 topics, and that's really where you shine, and that starts to build the expertise that people recognize you for. So I do want to respond to Marcello. So here's the thing, Marcello, your elevator pitch feels more like a sales pitch, and I'll tell you why. You use words like best value, right? And reliable, environmentally responsible company. I would assume that you're a reliable, environmentally responsible company because that's the business you're in. So I would suggest, and again, if you want to talk further, please book an hour with me because I would be happy to help you change that, or come to my I'll come to my webinar because you'll see how it's done. What you really want is to focus on who is that person that you're talking to. Are you talking about consumers? Are you talking about organizations? Are you talking about companies, corporations? Think about who is that user versus buyer. And ultimately, you want to focus on the transformation, not how you do it. This is all about how you do it. It's almost like you're trying to convince me that you're reliable, environmentally responsible, and you're providing simple solutions. I don't know what that means. I don't know what a simple solution is, right? I'm sure there's one thing they get out of this that they don't get from someone else. That's what is going to get people to go, tell me more. And ultimately, your elevator pitch needs to help me say, tell me more.
I agree. And it's very true when people say people don't really care about you, they care about what you can do for them.
Absolutely.
Care about the
Absolutely.
transformation, they care about the solution, they care about if you can help them implement to get results. All of that matters.
And what are those results? What, I mean, a solution, I mean, I assume that you provide a solution. And like I said, I assume that you're reliable, otherwise you wouldn't be in business. So you want to stay away from any adjectives that are more about convincing somebody and focus more on, again, the outcome. What does it look like when I have a solution, and what does it do for my company, my organization, right? That's really what you want to focus on.
Well, Orly, I thank you. I know we're approaching the hour mark, but I want to tell everyone that's tuning in, or that if you were to watch the replay, what she is granting us. If you were to scan the QR code and see the discount that she's offering our community right now, it's worth it for you to just attend and get more of her gems so you can completely get clear and have a solid elevator pitch. And for me, for those that know me, I am not a person that spam or sell to you, but if I find something that is valuable that can really help, I do promote it. I do push it out there. So I can definitely tell you guys that Orly is the type of person, like even right now during a free event, she wanted to take the time to help. So if you want the full version, I would say definitely scan that QR code and take full advantage of the discount that she's offering, because after today, it will go back to its original price. So I just want to make sure you guys get access to that.
Thank you, Amalia, and thank you so much for providing this opportunity. I think doing a member spotlight is a great idea, and as I said, I look forward to attending other member spotlights because it's a great way to find out what people do and learn more about them.
Absolutely. And because this is a member spotlight, I know you guys hate me when I do this, but I would like to just do some highlights and give you some kudos. So I did see that your book was ranked number one on Amazon, new
Well,
release.
yes, number one new business book release on Amazon. It was actually endorsed by Seth Godin.
Congratulations. You're
Thank
going to have
you.
to put your book in the comment sections too. I'm looking forward to diving into
Will
that.
do. Will do. And as you know, I'm working on my second book. And I actually have a book page on my website, so you can actually go there and you can go to purchase my book and you can read some of the endorsements that my book has gotten. But yeah, um, thank you,
Well,
Chris. Thanks for coming.
well, well, congratulations, everyone. Before we leave, I just want to rotate the QR codes one more time, just because I think it's important to make sure everyone have time. So I do want to go back to the clarity hour because some people do prefer that one-on-one instead of just the group setting. So if you want to do the clarity hour, she do a 1 hour, including the clarity audit and the elevator pitch. And then she have her webinar coming up March 11th, everyone, at noon, correct? Eastern
Yeah,
Standard Time?
Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, noon to one.
Okay. And then if you did not catch the bonus, be sure to download the free brand clarity checklist. So if you're not sure or you don't know the right questions to ask yourself, definitely download this checklist so you can kind of begin your journey to clarity.
Exactly.
All right. And if you're not connected with Orly, shame on you. Just kidding. Just kidding. Scan the QR code and then make sure you connect. And this is part of my personality, everyone. My apologies.
Oh, there's nothing to apologize for, Amelia. I think you're the cheerleader for this community, and I love that about you because you really want to see people succeed, and I think that's what makes this community so special because it really feels like people are there to support each other.
Absolutely. And one thing I've noticed on LinkedIn, there are so many hidden gems out here. And the fact that we don't have enough cheerleaders out there to really just push that talent out there, because we all have something that we can offer that can help one another.
Absolutely. Yep.
Oh, and I do see Dr. Marcia. Hi, Dr. Marcia. How are you? Oh, you know what, Orly? This is another person you can connect with.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'll go back and I'll look at the comments and then I'll reach out to you guys individually. I'm already connected with a couple of you. Um, and Marcello, I know you sent me a LinkedIn connection request, so I'll be sure to accept that.
Yeah, and I put it up again because I don't know Dr. Marcia. She's also hosting a webinar too. And the cool thing is she's giving us a special discount on that too. So make sure you guys take advantage. It is active until noon. Oh, I'm sorry, noon, midnight. I need to go to sleep early. It's active until midnight, and she's doing that for our community. So I just want to say I love our Audio Leadership Club community. I thank all our leaders for just doing these special things to add value to the different communities in our community personally. You don't have to do it, but the fact that you do means a lot. And for those of you that are not part of the Audio Leadership Club, we usually have a waiting list, but now is your opportunity to scan that QR code and join. If you scan during this event, you actually skip the waiting list and you get access to all of our past master classes, all of our discount. You can see the post that I'm going to actually post in there, all of Orly's links and things like that. So, and then of course, you can host a member spotlight so we can highlight you once Orly helps you get your elevator pitch clarity you need. We can showcase that clarity to the world.
Absolutely. Yep. I'd love that. That sounds like a plan.
That is awesome. Well, you know what? I do have some amazing members coming up. So I would say if you are a member of the Audio Leadership Club and you're watching and you have not scheduled your member spotlight, be sure to use the link in the community and schedule so we can highlight and shine a light on you as well. Well, I'm not going to take up too much of your time, Orly. I know it's after 7 our time. So everyone, I'm going to allow you just a little bit. If you have any last questions for Orly before we shut down today's live stream, feel free to put them in the comments now. Orly, thank you so much. We appreciate you. And then I will actually be at your webinar. So I'm looking forward. So hopefully I made the first 5.
You did. Yes, I'm looking at the first 5 to try to highlight their
Okay, perfect.
elevator pitch. So, yeah.
Awesome, everyone. Well, everyone have a great rest of your day and take care.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you all for your questions and your participation. Appreciate you.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.